Hello guys, welcome back to Pikama Stitches. Today I'm going to show us how to make this beautiful bubu kaftan with keyhole designs and a beautiful bow. Now if you're interested in this tutorial, kindly stay tuned and watch to the end because I know you will learn something from it. Let's get right into the tutorial. So welcome once again guys. I have this beautiful fabric. I have 3 yards. Okay, it actually remains, so 2.5 yards is just perfect. Okay, and I have this 1 yard of crepe fabric. So I've gone ahead to fold my fabric on a fold of 4, 1 for the front, 1 for the back. Sorry guys. So now because I want to achieve this design, you know, this is a striped pattern, you can fold it anywhere you want, but I want the black lines to go straight down. Okay, that's why I didn't have the exact width I need, so I'm going to be adding some fabric to complete the length of the sleeve. Okay, so let's go ahead and make the actual markings before we continue. So the full length of this dress, I'm going to be using the whole length, which is 60. Okay, the length of my dress is 60. So the width here on fold from this part, I have 14.75. so like I said earlier, because of the pattern I want to achieve, I'm going to be adding some extra fabric to complete the length of the sleeve that I want. Okay, now from this folded part, I'm going to be marking my neck width. I'm working with 3.75 neck width for both the front and the back piece. Now at this open part, I'm going to come down by 1.5. You can do 2 inches for a shoulder slant, and then I'll go ahead and connect this to my 3.75 neck width. Now you can do 3 inches, you can do 3.5. okay, but 3.75 is also perfect. Now after connecting it this way, we're going to go ahead and determine the sleeve opening. Now from this 1.5 inch we slanted, okay, you're going to determine the opening that you need. You can do 9 inches, 10 inches, 11 inches is just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and do 11 inches. I'm marking 11 inches from this 1.5 inch. Now measuring from the shoulder, I have 12.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to mark the exact same thing at this other side in order to get a straight line. Now after getting that line, I'm going to connect this into a straight line, and this automatically becomes my bust point. Okay, now after connecting this, I'm going to be marking my round body measurement. Now remember, for this free bubu kaftan, you don't need your waist measurement, you don't necessarily need your hip measurement because it's going to be free. So I'm marking my round hip measurement divided by 4 plus 3 inches. You can do 4 inches depending on how full you want it to be. Okay, I didn't have enough fabric, I would have done up to 5 inches or 4 inches, but I did my round hip divided by 4 plus 3 inches, and whatever that gave me, I marked it straight down to the hem of this dress. Now if your bust is bigger than your hip, you're going to be using your bust measurement divided by 4, and you add 3 or 4 inches to that. Now since my hip measurement is the biggest measurement, I'm using my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 3 inches, and go ahead and mark whatever you have all the way to the hem of the dress. And when you're done, just curve this part the way you see me do, connecting it to your sleeve opening. Now after doing that, we're going to be marking our neck depth for both the front and the back. Okay, so remember our neck width here is 3.75 for both front and back. For the neck depth of the back, I'm going to be making use of 1 inch. Now go ahead and connect it this way in a curved manner. Now these are back neck depth. Okay, now for the front neck depth, I'm going to be working with a 7.5 inch neck depth. You can do more if you want it deeper, but 7.5 is fine. So after marking it, just go ahead and connect it in a V shape. Okay, the front neck, it's a V shape. Okay, Now, because of the 1/2 inch we're going to be using to join the shoulders, I'm going to extend more than the 7.5. I extended it to 8 inches, okay, neck depth, so that after taking out 1/2 inch, sorry, at the shoulder area, I will still get the actual neck depth that I want. So can you see, I actually extended beyond the 7.5. Now, after taking 1/2 inch for shoulder joining, from that 1/2 inch, you see that I still have my 7.5 inch neck depth, and you go ahead to cut this out. Now, while cutting, you're going to be cutting the back neck depth first, okay? Then later we'll separate the two together. We'll separate the two so we can go ahead to cut out the front neck depth. Now, I want to say a very big thank you. I don't know how to put it. So while you're cutting your fabric, let me say thank you. Thank you and thank you and thank you again, guys. The support is massive, okay? I just open up my channel. Sometimes when I open up my YouTube studio, I'm just like, I'm wild, and I'm like, God, what did I do to deserve this kind of love? I want to say thank you so much, guys, for the support, for the subscribers, both the new ones, the old ones. I want to say thank you for liking, for commenting, for sharing, whichever form of support. I want to say thank you. May God also bless you and increase the work of your own hands as well. In Jesus' name, amen. So thank you so much, guys. So after cutting out, let's get right back. After cutting out, can you see the way I connected the sleeve area? Remember, we're going to be extending this sleeve because it's more or less like a 3/4 sleeve, okay? So I'm going ahead to trim this other part because I need that part to be well aligned. Now, after trimming that part to be well aligned, we'll go ahead to separate the front from the back so we can go ahead and cut out the front neck depth. Now, if there's any tutorial you would like me to show you, okay, to teach us on, please kindly let me know in the comment section, okay? I'll give you a WhatsApp number where you can send the style to, okay, for us to work on it together, okay? Please kindly give this video a thumbs up, okay, if you haven't, and subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. So we'll go ahead to attach the fabric for the sleeve extension. So whatever fabric you're bringing for the sleeve extension, you need to ensure that it's the same pattern as the same pattern you have on the dress. It has to go straight down, okay? Now, if you're working with fabrics that have pattern, you need to be very careful and sensitive. Now, I'm going to measure from my center front to where I want the sleeve to end, okay? And then for me, that measurement is 23 inches. So I'm going ahead to add 1 inch to that for hemming of the sleeve. Now, how do you get this measurement? Measure from the center bone at your back, okay? That bone at the neck area, at the center of your back. Place your tape, then measure it all the way down your shoulder to where you want your sleeve to end, okay? So that's how you get the length of your sleeve. Now, after connecting it, these fabrics are on fold. I'm going to go ahead and open it up because we need 4 pieces, okay? 2 for the front sleeve, okay? The both sleeves on the left and right hand side of your front, okay? 2 for the back sleeve as well. Now, if your fabric is not patterned or you don't want your sleeve to be too long, you wouldn't necessarily need to go through all of this process, okay? So once we're done with our sleeves, we'll go ahead now to cut out our facing for both the front and the back. If you want to use bias, you can go ahead and use bias to turn the neck, okay? But I want to use facing. So we're going to go ahead to cut out the back facing for now. So make sure the center of your facing and your fabric is well aligned, just the way you see me do. You can use your pin to hold it in place. After aligning it perfectly, you go ahead and cut out the same thing you have at the neck depth and at the shoulder area. Now, the shoulder slant is not going to go all the way to the end of the sleeve, okay? So you're going to determine the length you want for your shoulder slant. So for me, I worked with a shoulder slant of 5 inches, okay, for my facing. Can you see what I have there? I had 5 inch. So on the shoulder area, I have 5 inch, and then for the neck depth, the depth of the facing, I worked with 5 inches as well. You can do 3 inches. I later changed to 3 inches. So whatever depth you want to work with is fine, but the back neck depth doesn't necessarily need to be so long. Okay, so go ahead and curve it out and cut this out, and we're going to go ahead and cut out the front facing as well. So for our front facing, we've gone ahead to align the center as well, ensure it's on fold as well. Go ahead and trace out the neck depth and also trace out your shoulder slant. Now you're going to ensure that your front shoulder slant on the facing and the back matches up. So just, can you see what I'm doing here? I'm placing them from the shoulder area to ensure that I have the exact same thing, okay? And I've made a notch from that point. I'll go ahead and trace this down, okay? Now this is to ensure that both the front and the back facing is well aligned. Now from the shoulder, you're going to go ahead and measure the depth of the front facing. Now the front facing is always longer than the back facing because already the front neck depth is deeper than the back. So I worked with 15-inch neck depth. So I'm going to connect it to that 5-inch point in a curved manner. You can also connect it in a V shape, okay? Go ahead and connect it the way you see me do, and go ahead and cut this out. So your front facing and your back facing is ready. You can go ahead to attach your soft paper stay to the facing, okay, before turning the neckline, but I didn't make use of all of that, okay? So after doing that, I'll go ahead to open this up and show us what we have. Can you see the pattern, the design for both front and back? The lines, the stripes are facing downward. So if you're working with this kind of fabric, you need to be sensitive so your patterns align. So you're going to place the V shape of your facing. Make sure the shoulder parts align, everything is matching. You stitch up the V area, okay? So I've gone ahead to pin this down, and then after doing that, you're going to place the right side of, can you see, the right side of this extended sleeve, right sides facing each other, and you're going to stitch it up with 1/2 inch, and you're going to repeat the same thing for the other side of the sleeve and the same thing for the back sleeve as well. Now this is our back. Can you see the stripe lines are going downwards? Emphasis on that, okay? But if you're using an Ankara, whatever fabric, you can do whatever you want. So go ahead and stitch the neckline around. Can you see what I have? Make sure the stripe lines are matching at the sleeve area. Go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch. Repeat the same thing as well at the other side of the back sleeve. So I'll go ahead and stitch it and iron it and show us what we have. So this is what we have for both the front and the back. Now after ironing the neckline flat and sewing it down, I had to iron the center of this dress, okay? You need the center seam, so iron that down. And then after stitching your sleeve down, if you have any excess like I have here, just go ahead and trim it off. Now if you iron it down neatly and make the lines match perfectly, everything will come out just beautifully. It won't be obvious that there was a joining there at all, okay? So this is what I have. Go ahead and trim out any form of excess. So let's go straight into the design, okay? So this is our front piece. I'm going to be using the front piece to illustrate. So whatever I'm doing on the front piece, kindly note that it's the same thing that's happening on the back piece, or it can be slightly different, depends on the designs you want to achieve. Now from the hem of your fabric, you're going to mark upwards 8 or 9 inches, okay? we don't want the design to go all the way to the hem of the dress. Remember, we're going to hem the lower part of the dress, and you need some space before your keyhole design. So I marked 8 inches from the hem of the dress in a straight line like this. So go ahead and mark between 8 to 9 inches. Can you see what we have? So all our marking will start from that 8 inches upward. Now from that 8 inches, I'm marking upward 20 inches. Now you can also mark 15 inches if you don't want yours to be as wide as mine, okay? Whatever length you want to achieve, you can go ahead and play around with this, but I marked 20 inches from the 8 inches we came up from the hem of the dress by. I marked up 20 inches, and I'm going to mark that 20 inches and connect it as well into a straight line. Please kindly follow and pay attention. Now remember, the center of the dress that our line, okay, we ironed out is already here as a guide. So can you see, I'm going ahead to trace out that center line that we ironed out. This is the midpoint of my dress. So meaning we've successfully divided this lower part into 2 boxes, okay? So now at the sides, you're going to be marking minimum 2.5 inch from the sides. Remember, you're going to be shaping both sides of this dress with either 1 inch or whatever inch you want to use. And you need some space, some ease, minimum 1.5 or 2 inches on the sides before your keyhole design. So that's the essence of this 2.5 inch. Now you're going to mark the same thing on the other side of the box. Now after marking this and connecting into a straight line, we've successfully created a square. Okay, and this box is equal on both sides. I hope this is clear. So go ahead and connect that to your line. So can you see what we have? This is the midpoint, and then I've also come in by 2.5 inch on both sides of the dress. Now you're going to divide the length of this dress into 2. Remember, we marked from the 8 inches upward, we marked 20 inches. So 20 divided by 2 is 10. So we're going to mark that 10 inches again in between. Please pay attention. It's not hard. All we're trying to achieve is that we're trying to create an accurate circle. You can just decide to do it randomly, it's fine. But for the design I wanted to achieve, I needed an equal box in front of the dress. So go ahead and get the midpoint of this, your 20 inches. If you used 15 inches, divide 15 inches by 2 and mark what you have. So now we've gone ahead to separate and have 4 different boxes. Why I'm making 4 boxes is because I'm going to be creating 4 keyhole designs in front, 4 keyhole designs behind. If you want to do more, meaning you're going to divide it by how many boxes you want to create. So now I'm taking this again. From the lower part, I came up by 8 inches. From that 8 inches, I went up by 20 inches. And then get the midpoint of your dress. On both sides as well, I came in by 2.5 inches and divided as well what I had from the 8 to the 20 into 2. So can you see we have 10 inches. Now in order to know where to create the keyhole for each of the 4 boxes, okay, I'm going to be marking the midpoint of each box. Please don't be confused, pay attention. Now we have 4 different boxes, equal boxes that we've created. Get the midpoint of each of the box. The midpoint is where your keyhole is going to lay on. Now if this is going to be confusing for you, please replay the video, download it and replay. Take your time and watch it. I'll explain it again. Get the midpoint of this your box. What I had was 5 inches. Remember, each box now is 10 inches, so the midpoint of 10 is 5 inches. That's where I'm going to be placing my keyhole design. That's the center of each of these boxes. I hope this is clear. So I'm going ahead to use my chalk to mark the midpoint of each of the boxes. Why I have 4 boxes is because I'm creating 4 keyholes. If you're doing more than, you're going to be creating more than 4 boxes. Okay, on the style inspiration, she had up to 6 boxes in front, 6 behind. So if you want to do more, you know you have to extend more. Okay, So now get the midpoint of each of these boxes. Please, you can take your time and watch this video again later, or you can go ahead and place your keyholes randomly, either in a slanted manner. It's still a design, okay? But this is what I want to achieve, and if you want to achieve the same thing, please kindly pay attention. Get the midpoint of each of these your square boxes. That's where your keyhole is going to be sitting. Now, after getting the midpoint, in order to create our circle, okay, from the center of this your keyhole, the center that you marked, can you see what I have? From each part I have 5 inches. Can you see? If you have more than 5, it's still okay, depending on the length of what you want to achieve. So now for the keyhole, that's the round effect, the smaller effect, which is the radius. I'm going to be marking 1.5 inch from the center that I created of this box. I'm marking 1.5 inch, round it, and whatever I'm doing on this box, I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other box and also on the back piece. Now for the back piece, I made the back piece design a little bit lower because it's my back. I didn't want the design to go all the way to show my thighs, okay? So you can make yours higher or lower, or you can pattern it whichever way you want. Now after marking your 1.5 inch from that center line round, whatever you have here, you do the same. So at the end of the day, I have 3.5 inch, which will be the length of my circular design. I hope this is clear, and I've done the same thing for the other boxes, okay? Just go ahead and measure around this box. So we'll go ahead and cut our flay that we'll use to create this box. Please take your time and watch this video again so you don't get confused. So measure around this circle so that we'll know how to cut the design that we'll place on this. So I'm measuring round, and what I had was 10.75. okay, so we're going to use our pattern paper to cut out this design. Now while bringing this pattern paper, I actually smiled because this is the first time ever on this channel that we're working on a pattern. Okay, so if you want us to do more of this, please let me know in the comments section. So now go ahead and fold your pattern just the way you see me do, like you want to cut out a 360-degree flay, a full flay. Can you see how it's folded? So now what you're going to do is the measurement you got around that your circle, you're going to divide it by 6.28, since this is a full flay, okay? So divide it by 6.28, whatever you have, go ahead and mark it round at this point. This is your radius. I hope this is clear. That round keyhole you marked, okay, you're going to divide it by 6.28 and mark it here. So that gives us our radius, okay? Now that for the length of the design we're going to be placing so it fits on each of the boxes, remember we had 3.5 inches as the length of our fabric that we're going to be using to create that design, okay? So we're going to be adding 1/2 of an inch to that, to whatever you have. I hope this is clear. So when I add 1/2 of an inch to that, I'm going to be having 4 inches. So you go ahead to mark that 4 inches, or you mark the exact 3.5 inch that you got. When you're cutting out on your main fabric, you can add the 1/2 of an inch because you need that 1/2 inch to fold the edges of your circle so it doesn't look rough, okay? So go ahead and mark the length of the fabric that you're going to be using for your keyhole covering. I really hope this is clear. Then go ahead and mark it round. You're marking from this your radius point, okay? And after getting that, go ahead and connect it just the way you see me do. So can you see what we have? And that's all that you need to create your keyhole design. Now go ahead and cut this out just the way you see me do. Please, if you've watched this video up to this time and you've not given this video a thumbs up or a like, you are wrong. Please kindly like and subscribe for more interesting and educating tutorials. Okay, so after cutting this out, this is what you're going to have, your full circular flare. Now this is what we're going to use to cut out on our main piece. And remember, we have 4 keyholes in front, 4 keyholes behind, so meaning we're going to be cutting out 8 pieces of fabric. So I'm going to be using this my crepe fabric to cut out 8 pieces of this. Can you see? I've cut out 8 pieces of this, and I added half of an inch around. You're going to go to your ironing table, you're going to fold in the half of an inch. Please make sure you use your hemming gum. Okay, can you see what I have? I have 8 pieces of this. I'm going to go ahead and attach my stay to this for more structure, but if you don't want to attach stay, it's fine. I'll attach my stay to this, and then I'll fold in half of an inch at the edges. I'll use my hemming gum to hold it in place. Okay, can you see what we have? This is exactly what we have, and then fold in half of an inch. Now while ironing, you can decide to use this paper as a guide. Okay, you can actually pin the paper down to your fabric, okay, after adding your stay, and you use this paper as a guide so you don't fold in more than what you're supposed to. But whatever you're folding, ensure that it doesn't exceed the box, each of the boxes that you're supposed to place them in. So remember, this is 8 pieces. This design, I'm making 4 for the front, 4 for the back. Now go ahead and hem in the sides just the way you see me do. Use your hemming gum to iron those edges down. Then I'll show us what next to do. Now this is what we have. This is so beautiful. I've gone ahead to prepare for the back piece. Can you see? And can you see the wrong side? It's all neat. So I'm going to be using the front piece to show us how to achieve this. Remember, I said for the back, I made the back a little lower because I didn't want it to expose my back so much. Okay, so you can go ahead and play around with this. Now for the front piece, I've gone ahead to create the first 2, sorry. So I'll use this other 2 to show us how to perfect this. Now this is what I have for this one. I've gone ahead to prepare this one already, so I'll use this one to explain it to us. Now this is the circle. Can you see the inside? I hemmed in half of an inch. I used my hemming gum to keep it in place. So you need your hemming gum while doing this. So can you see what we have? So now please, when you're doing your marking, make sure you're marking on the wrong side of your fabric. Okay, so you're going to be placing the right side of this your keyhole on the wrong side of your main piece and stitch round the circle. Make sure you get the midpoint. Okay, that midpoint you marked in front. Please kindly note, while marking, do your marking on the wrong side, because most of the sewing will be done on the wrong side of the fabric, or you can do it on both sides. Now after getting the midpoint, go ahead and cut out the main fabric just at this circular part. Remember, you have stitched this circular part to the main fabric, the right side of your keyhole facing the wrong side of your fabric. Can you see what we have? So after stitching just at this radius part, you're going to notch the corner so it relaxes when you flip it over to the right side. I hope this is clear. Now after notching this, you're going to pull everything inward and turn it over to the right side. So now this makes the wrong side of your dress also perfectly cleaned up and neatly done. Don't worry guys, I'm going to repeat it again on this other one so you can understand what we've just done. So when you flip it over, can you see what you have? This is what we're going to have. So what you do is you go ahead and give this a good press. You can still use your hemming gum. Okay, lift the keyhole, put your hemming gum under and press it down before taking it to your sewing machine to stitch it down. Or you can use your pins to hold it in place so it doesn't move. Put in your hemming gum, iron it down flat, make sure there are no bulky effects, sorry for the noise guys, and then you stitch very close to the edge of this your circular keyhole. Can you see? and that's how we achieved the rest. So let me show us how we did this. Now remember this marking we made in front. When I turn it to the back, I could see the marking. If you can't see it, use your pin to prick through the midpoint. It will show at the wrong side. You use your chalk to mark it. That's another easy way to get the midpoint. Now after doing that, place the right side of your keyhole on the wrong side of your fabric. Now go ahead and centralize your keyhole and pin it down around. You pin it around. After pinning it around, just to keep it flat, you go ahead and sew round that circular part. Please, sorry guys for the noise. You can go ahead and sew round first, or you can go ahead and cut the main piece, the main fabric that is showing on this keyhole part. You cut it out first before going to your sewing machine to stitch round just this small circle before flipping it to the right side. Remember, before you flip it, you have to notch round so it relaxes when you flip it over. Stitch round just this part, okay, and turn it to the right side. Give it a good press and top stitch at the edge of your keyhole. Okay, can you see what I have here? When you give this a good press, it will give you a more relaxing effect like what we have here. So guys, before going ahead to do that, I've gone ahead to cut what we need for the bow. I already have a detailed tutorial on this channel on this same design, so I didn't really pay more attention to the bow. But the length and width of this bow is 9 inches. Okay, I just want a smaller bow for this dress. Okay, but if you want a more detailed tutorial, you can check on this channel. You will see more. But for this one, there's a little twist. I'm doing something different. The length of this design we have here is 10 inches, the shorter belt, okay, and the width is 2 inches on fold. So when you open it up, it's 4 inches. Then you sew up, flip it to the right side, and I created this little slant design at the edge. Now the placement for this one is going to be different from the other one, so still pay attention. And I have this long strip, okay. This part has been turned neatly, but this part hasn't been turned. The part that has not been turned is going to be at the shoulder area. Please, if this one is too fast for you, you can watch the other tutorial so you get a clearer explanation. My main focus on this tutorial was to show us the keyhole design, how to create it. Okay, so first, after opening the front piece, you're going to determine where you want to place your bow, either on the left hand or on the right hand side. After determining where you're going to place it, you mark 5 inches from your neck width, just the way you see me do. And from that 5 inch, you're going to place the rough side of this longer bow. The length of this was 14 inches. You place it not straight but in a slanted manner. Can you see? In a slanted manner, just the way you see me do. Can you see what we have here? You can use your pin to hold this in place. You're going to stitch right at the edge, but before that, I'm going to show us a different method of making this bow. So you're going to insert the shorter bows underneath this. So lift the main bow up. So you're going to lift the main bow up, okay, and you're going to put this shorter bow underneath it, just the way you see me do. Now you're going to place them in a slanted manner this way. Now I had to bring this up close so you can see what I'm doing. Can you see? I placed it in a slanted manner. This will give you a different effect from the first tutorial that I did. So this longer strip is covering the rough edges of these ones. You go ahead and overlap them, okay, and keep them in a slanted manner, just the way you see me do. So you go ahead and stitch at this edge with a tiny stitch, stitch all the way, and stitch back to the shoulder. So I'll do all of that and show us what next to do. So this is what we have. I've gone ahead to stitch this down. Now for this other pattern, this your short strips will not be lying straight. It will give you this bow kind of slanted effect. Okay, now let's work on the bow itself. You're going to fold it into two, your bow into two, and then you get the midpoint of your bow. At the midpoint is where you're going to be making the pleat or gathered effect. Okay, so get the midpoint, and then I have this small strip of fabric. Okay, it's 4-inch length. I just stitched it down and turn it to the other part. Okay, can you see? It's 4 inches. We'll still trim off some excess from it. So go ahead and pleat from the midpoint of this part to meet the midpoint at the top part of your bow, just the way you see me do. Pleat it this way. Can you see? Now can you see what we have for our bow? So cute. So you're going to bring in this strip of fabric that we have. Can you see? You're going to place the right side that doesn't have any seam over it like this and flip the excess this way. Can you see what we have here? Can you see? I hope this is clear. Now after flipping it this way, you're going to place it at where you have this seam line, the junction where the slant at the two fabrics at the lower part and the longer one from the shoulder part meet each other. Okay, then you're going to place it this way. The rough edge of this your strip of fabric over your bow, you're going to place it this way and stitch very close to it. Let me turn this over so you can see. Now if this seems complicated for you, you can watch the other tutorial, but I think this is simple enough and I love the outcome of this more better. Okay, I love the outcome of this more. Now we are finished with our bow. We put our strap over the bow just the way you see me do. Can you see what we have here? Now you're going to turn the rough edge of your bow, okay, at this junction where you made your seam. You're going to place it this way. Turn your bow this way. Place it this way. You can use your pin to hold it down. Okay, you go ahead and stitch very close to your bow, just the way you see me do. Now once you're done stitching, cut out the excess of that your strap. When you flip your bow over, it will relax perfectly well. Can you see what I have? So I'll go ahead and stitch it. You can go ahead and tack each corner of your bow down so it rests, it relaxes well on your fabric. And I love this more better. Okay, and this is our keyhole. Now I got a client from this dress. Someone almost collected this dress from me on my way to church. So I had a client. So please, if you're making this dress for anybody, make sure you charge. Making this circular effect is a bit stressful, okay? But I tell you for sure, this is so beautiful, okay? This is so beautiful. You definitely need to try this out and let me know in the comment section how yours comes out, okay? So go ahead and join the shoulder seams, okay? Join the shoulder. After joining the shoulder, go ahead and hem your sleeve and shape the sides of your dress. After shaping the sides, go ahead and hem the lower part. I actually weaved the lower part of mine. If you want slits on both sides, you can come up by 15 inches on both sides and open it up for a slit. But this was wide enough for me to walk freely, so I didn't attach a slit to mine. Hem the lower part of your dress and your dress is ready. So give this video a thumbs up if you've watched up to this point. And this is our beautiful boo-boo dress with bow. Can you see how cute the bow is sitting? So guys, kindly try this out. Like I said, I made the back keyhole a bit lower because I was using it to church. I weaved the lower part and this is our keyhole, so pretty and neat inside and out. And this is our unique bow design. What I love about this bow design is the lower straps would just sit in that slanted way, okay, all the way. So kindly try this out and let me know in the comments how yours comes up. Give this video a thumbs up. Till I see you guys next time. Bye bye.